All right, so I'm going to do a new sheet size. So the default sheet size for all of these is set up as the 18 by 32 because that's the size of the laser cutter bed. All right, so I can zoom in onto the scale 1:1. I can do a distance, and I can see that it is 32 inches by 18 inches by 18 inches. So say for example, I want to do one that is 32 by 16. So I'm going to just do my rectangle tool. I'll make a new one, 32, enter, 16, enter, and now I have the sheet size set up, but I just want to make sure I have this little safety margin that's also in place. And this is 0.4 inches. I can just double check by doing a distance. I can measure it and I can see that it's 0.4. I can measure it the other way from endpoint to perpendicular. And again, 0.4. So I'm just going to offset this by 0.4. Just do offset it inside. And if I want to, I can select both of these, put it in the sheet layer by right-clicking on the word sheet and go to change object layer. If I want to, I can also just group these. And now I have this as my new sheet size that is now 32 by 16. And this is the new sheet size that I would use to put all my pieces on. So I'm going to just zoom out over here. And again, just do the same thing with laser cutting and just set it up there. And now I can use this sheet size, which is 32 by 16. If I have a different sheet size, say for example, I have like a piece of basswood. I'm gonna move this back 1 second. Say for example, I have a piece of basswood that's about 6 inches by 12 inches. I'm going to use the exact same steps. Use a new rectangle. I'll do 6, enter, 12, enter. And I'll just have to rotate this. Rotate it 90 degrees. And then use the same safety margin. Offset. And just offset it on the inside by 0.4 inches. And just make sure that this goes into the sheet layer. Change object layer, and if I want to, I can just group these. So now I can cut my piece of basswood, which is now 6 inches by 12 inches. What I could also do with these is if I want to change the scale of them, right? If I'm building my model at a different scale, and say for example, I'm building my model at a 1/4 inch scale. So on all of these sheets, you'll see a number in parentheses. So this one, the 1/4 inch scale has it at 48. 3/8 scale has 32. 1/2 inch scale has 24. This is the number that I need to use, whatever the number is in parentheses, the number that I need to use in order to scale it, scale the sheet size accurately. So for example, I'm going to take this, I'm going to just copy it, and say I need this to be at a 1/4 inch scale. This is the 32 by 16. So now I use this number 48 with the scale command. I see scale, select the objects to scale. I want this base point. I just click any point on here. And then now I just type in 48, enter. And now this is now set up at 1/4 inch scale. So again, I just do the same thing that I would normally do. I would just now use this sheet and place it up here. and put all my pieces on here. And right before I laser cut, I just need to make sure that I'm laser cutting from my 1/4 inch tab. And obviously there's going to be a 2-inch gap because this is a 32 by 16. But it's at the correct scale. And I could also do the same thing if I'm with the 12 by, or the 6 by 12 that I made for my piece of basswood that I had. But just say, for example, on this piece of basswood, I'm doing a model, I'm doing a much smaller scale model. I'm going to do an 1/8 inch model. So I'll just copy it over here. I'm going to use 96. I just need to scale this up now, so I just type in scale. Select my base point and just type in 96, enter. So now this sheet is now set up for 1/8 inch scale. And then I just move this back into place as I normally would with whenever you're laser cutting. Move this one, move this one out of the way. And just move this into place. And now, right before I cut, I can just go over to my 1/8. I have to move that one a little bit further out of the way. But now I have this set up at 1/8 inch, so I can now laser cut this. And the one thing, if you want to just take this extra step, the only place where you really need the safety margin is where it's touching the edge of the laser cutter. So in this case, it's only touching the edge of the laser cutter on the top and on the left. So in reality, I really don't need the safety margin on the right and on the bottom. So if I wanted to, I can just ungroup this. I'm going to explode the inside one, and I can just delete these 2 pieces. And if I wanted to, I can extend these, but for now I'm not. I'll just regroup these. And I don't need the safety margin. The only time I really need it is if it's touching the edge of the laser cutter bed. But in this case, it's in the middle, and I really don't need it. So now you should be able to make your own custom size sheet for your material that is, say, for example, if it's not 18 by 32. And you should also be able to scale it to the correct scale if you're doing making your model at a different scale.